616 Games is a one-person indie horror developer who specializes in games involving PS1-style graphics, macabre and gory stories, and aesthetics from 80s and 90s VHS tapes that are designed to invoke nostalgia in players. This developer has hilarious and whimsical titles, along with plotlines that are sure to make you bust a gut, maybe literally considering how violent the games are, but besides that, these games know when to take themselves seriously, and when not to. The perfect combination of drama and camp, especially considering a few of these games do take place at camps and go so far as to just be spoofs of original titles. But we're sure that their satirical way to pay homage, we never really figured out how to pronounce that word, to the horror classics that made the genre what it is today. As a matter of fact, many movies these games are based off of have a quirky and almost idiosyncratic way of doing what they did with horror. And that, folks, is what we're here to showcase to you in this presentation. Think of this as some sort of gallery of mercurially ghastly games that we can guarantee will leave you terrified in horror and fright as much as they'll leave you in exuberance and hilarity. The MS Word Thesaurus feature makes us feel like we're living life in debug mode. Anyway, these are the many titles of 616 Games. This game revolves around a guy named Marco and how his friend Thales are both opening up a hamburger shop without having any cooking experience whatsoever, so they decide to pull a plankton late in the night and go hunting for a secret hamburger formula in an abandoned shit Donald factory. What an appetizing name, but one of the last things they'd expected was for the old factory's mascot to still be there after all this time. You'd best hope your cholesterol gets to you before he does. In the same vein of Bloodburger, Blood Camp, see what I did there, tells the story of a guy named Brad who sees his mother get brutally murdered in a summer camp, and after a few years he decides to return to the very same site with his friends so he can confront his inner demons. Little did he know that the same killer who took his mother's life, Pig's Head, would be there that night. Saw installment? No? Okay, I guess we've been watching too much gore-oriented material. This one is about a man named Jesse who takes a flight for a business trip which crashes in one of the most inconvenient places possible. Alone in the deserted Asken wilderness, he'll have to resort to resourceful survival tactics to survive. But nature alone isn't the only adversity Jesse has been put up against. Lurking throughout the desolate forests are a group of lunatic cannibals who we assume are equipped not only with deadly weapons but contracting stomachs and tasty marinades. Eat your heart out, Wrong Turn fans. Oh wait, that's what's not supposed to happen. Die from the cold or in cold blood. Speaking of desolate wastelands, corporate office type environments. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, the Backrooms is a world that's sort of beneath the surface of our reality, which people can clip into. This will appeal to crossover fans, especially those who are passionate about both respective mythoses, because in this plotline, the S.C.P Foundation played their part in detecting and securing the entities in the Backrooms. However, people just clipping in and out of the Backrooms are a hindrance to their task, and this gets especially hard when people are emboldening the entities. Some people really do have too much time on their hands. The House of Rats sounds like literally every group I've been in school or worked with. Anyway, this story is about a guy named Ray who gets an heirloom from his late grandfather. It's a house, which he swiftly goes and starts to renovate. During the process, he finds horrific things about his grandfather's place. Christ, no wonder he chose not to sell the house. Continuing into the genre of housing, yeah, I guess 616 went from niche to niche. This found footage game is about an investigation into a serial killer named Butcher of the Forest, which has turned up a tape after the disappearance of a group of people. We don't truly know how many more crimes the killer has committed until now. Keeping with the theme of free, useless real estate, this one is about Joseph, who's a fisherman facing really rough waters. A storm comes and his ship sinks, but he's not too far from a deserted island. Once he explores the ghost town that supposedly used to be full of residents, he finds that things are a bit off. This is another one for those of you who are into exploration games. Have a Joker moment with this next one involving Steve, who works at a small grocery store away from the city. But he's not the only one with nothing better to do at night, because besides him, a vicious psychopath in a clown mask wanting to kidnap people and play games also took a modafinil. Wanting to play games? Sound familiar? In addition to more kooks and wackaloons, Lisa and Sam are both traveling together in a car right before they have an accident. Lisa is nowhere to be found, and Sam has been taken to a location he's completely unfamiliar with. Now Sam will have to battle his way out of Red Valley filled with supernatural creatures on the outside that hunt him. Or are they? A George Carlin special? No, but Brian wakes up late so he can pick up his wife from work in a hurry, but, well, we'll just let you find this one out for yourselves. After Samantha survives a man trying to murder her, 20 years later, she's able to get revenge. In this game, you're the queen of the castle, and you're not afraid to use a weapon. Josh is a horror game enthusiast. Wonder if he's subscribed to our channel. Who's visited by a man dressed in black and wearing a mask. And now, to the horror and dismay of terminally online freaks everywhere, he'll have to actually touch grass to ever hope of playing a new horror game again. Rachel, it's always Rachel, decides to watch a movie from the VHS store she works at that follows a series of weird events and a cult called The Shining. A paranormal investigation team, wow, we totally believe that profession is legit, looks for evil spirits in the home of a former serial killer. Wow, we can just imagine them right now. Ooh, this lingerie strap harness has a spirit residing in it. Or, ooh, this bone saw is a horcrux. Hilarious. Jack and Sarah tend to a farm isolated from the rest of the population, and life is calm until someone leaves a mystery box on their doorstep. It contains an amulet that carries the curse of mold. Christ, the contractors, the freelancers, oh god, their outrageous charges! What a wonderful title. A few campers challenge two among them to enter the abandoned house of a serial killer, but what none of them expect is that the serial killer is still out there. Not straying away from farms, Nick lives on one alone with his dog Jake. Nice. It's peculiar when strange things from the sky begin to visit, and I've been told by the FBI that if you see anything of the sort in real life, it's a weather balloon, an aircraft from an unaligned nation, a local aircraft that's emergency signaling, a satellite at low orbit, or a supernova. Oh, and Epstein totally killed himself. The agents also told me to get that tinfoil garment off the top of my head because what I'm too busy doing is getting the message out that Epstein didn't kill. In this one, a sex maniac is on the loose and there's nothing he likes more than eating ass. Hot. But the thing is, he'll stop at absolutely nothing to eat yours. Have towels and mops ready before you play this one. This is why 616 is so fantastic and funny. Moving to a game that has a title synonymous with what making YouTube videos feels like, Dylan has a job where he has to look after a lighthouse for 6 months because the last lighthouse keeper disappeared. As you can clearly infer, Dylan is either really dumb, really desperate, or both. Additionally, since the last keeper disappeared on the island, Dylan probably isn't alone. Josh has worked the night shift at a hotel front desk for a week. Sounds like hell. He realizes that the hotel's elevator is a mystery, and he finds out something much more sinister lurks beneath what the eye can't immediately see. This is for you psychological horror style fans. Oh boy, another fantastic one. Harry is a blue-collar worker who owns a small hamburger shop and is the only one on shift, and by subtly making one customer angry, Harry is in for quite the psychotic night that's sure to make him get his shit together and survive this anal lunatic. After a customer in a nightclub shits the bathroom toilet and doesn't flush, the poop killer is ready at the scene to give everyone a huge piece of shit. Yep, it's an entire series. Billy and Jamal smoke a lot of weed. After Jamal takes a shit in the toilet, you'd best bet the poop killer is on his way to see you. John works the night shift at a VHS tape store, and after a customer clogs the toilet with what's probably the product of a huge appetite in Taco Bell, the poop killer is after blood. Brad is home alone at night, and after he gets a few strange cell phone messages, things started to turn into a nightmare when a lunatic decides to break into his house. Adam gets news that there's a deranged, cold-blooded killer on the loose. Could his neighbor be the killer in question? They never stop. This time, there's a copycat poop killer on the loose, and once a customer clogs up the bathroom in a sex shop, that's when shit really hits the fan. Kevin is investigating an anonymous phone call that tipped him to, of course, an abandoned facility, and he must do everything to save himself. So folks, these have been the games to horrify and amuse you to your core. Or, if you didn't experience something akin to these, we hope you just enjoy these games if you play them. As fans of retro-style horror that fuses 80s slasher B-movie aesthetic with video games, we greatly appreciate developers like this when they put in this much effort to make as many games as this.